We often think of demons as mythical creatures, unseen forces lurking in the shadows. But what if I told you that demons can walk among us, cloaked in human form? Not in the literal sense, but in spirit, people who drain your energy, manipulate your mind, and destroy your peace. Let's uncover the 7 signs that someone in your life might be a demon in disguise, hindering your path to growth and happiness. They leave you emotionally exhausted after every interaction, thriving on negativity and chaos. You know the feeling, the sense of depletion, the invisible weight pressing on your shoulders, as though you've been drained of your very essence. It's not the same as normal tiredness, the kind you feel after a long day at work or an intense workout. No, this exhaustion runs deeper. It invades your spirit, dulls your mind, and leaves you questioning why, after spending time with this person, you feel like a shadow of yourself. This kind of energy drain is often subtle at first. It doesn't announce itself with grand gestures or obvious signs. Instead, it creeps in slowly, like a fog, gradually obscuring your clarity and dampening your vitality. You might dismiss it initially, attributing it to your own stress or personal challenges. But over time, a pattern emerges, a consistent feeling of being depleted, mentally foggy, or emotionally raw after every encounter with this individual. These people thrive on negativity, but not in a way that's immediately obvious. They're not always loud, overtly confrontational, or dramatically toxic. Sometimes their negativity is delivered in whispers, in small, cutting remarks disguised as jokes, or in stories that always cast them as the victim, subtly demanding your emotional labor. They might mask their chaos under the guise of needing help or advice. But the true intent is not to seek solutions, it's to keep you entangled in their web of dysfunction. They bring problems, not looking for clarity, but for attention, and your attempts to help or empathize only serve to pull you deeper into their vortex. It's easy to overlook these interactions, especially if you care about the person. You tell yourself you're being a good friend, a supportive partner, or a compassionate colleague. You rationalize their behavior, thinking they're going through a tough time or they don't have anyone else. But true support should be a two-way street, a balanced exchange where both parties leave feeling valued and uplifted. When you're dealing with someone who thrives on negativity, there is no balance. They take and take, leaving you with nothing in return. It's not support, it's exploitation of your energy and empathy. They create chaos in subtle and insidious ways. They might sow seeds of discord between you and others, instigate drama, or constantly shift the narrative to make themselves the center of attention. They thrive on conflict because it feeds their need for control and validation. Even when things seem calm on the surface, there's always an undercurrent of tension, a sense that something could erupt at any moment. This constant state of alertness, of emotional vigilance, is exhausting. It keeps you on edge, drains your mental reserves, and leaves you feeling like you're walking through a minefield. What makes this dynamic particularly dangerous is its cumulative effect. Each interaction might seem manageable on its own, but over time, the drain on your energy compounds. You start to notice changes in yourself. You're more irritable, less patient. Small tasks feel overwhelming. Your passion for things you once enjoyed begins to wane. This is not by accident. The person draining your energy thrives on your depletion. The more exhausted you are, the easier you are to manipulate. The more chaos they create, the more they solidify their position in your life as someone who seems indispensable, someone you need to fix, help, or save. It's crucial to recognize that this pattern is not about you. It's not a reflection of your worth, your strength, or your capacity for kindness. It's a deliberate strategy used by people who feed off the energy of others. Their negativity is a tool, a means of keeping you tethered to them. They know that as long as you're engaged in their chaos, you're not focused on your own growth or well-being. They keep you in a state of emotional depletion because it serves their needs, not yours. The first step in breaking free from this dynamic is awareness. Pay attention to how you feel after spending time with certain people. Notice the patterns. Do you consistently leave feeling drained, anxious, or defeated? Are your interactions filled with drama, negativity, or constant demands for your attention and emotional energy? If so, it's time to reassess those relationships. Protecting your energy is not selfish, it's essential. You cannot pour from an empty cup, and you cannot thrive in an environment where someone else is constantly draining your life force. Setting boundaries is critical. You have the right to protect your peace, to say no, and to walk away from situations or people who deplete you. This doesn't mean you lack compassion or kindness. It means you understand that true compassion starts with yourself. You cannot save someone who is determined to remain in chaos, and you are not responsible for fixing or carrying their emotional burdens. Recognize that your energy is precious and it deserves to be respected. Surround yourself with people who uplift you, who bring light into your life rather than darkness. In the end, the most important realization is that you have the power to choose where your energy goes. You are not obligated to engage with those who drain you, who thrive on negativity and chaos. By recognizing the signs and protecting your energy, you reclaim your strength, your clarity, and your peace. Remember, demons can only thrive if you allow them access to your light. Guard it fiercely. Their words might sound sweet, but their actions are poison. At first, they draw you in with charm, promises, or the illusion of shared goals and understanding. They might present themselves as caring, supportive, and trustworthy, creating a facade so convincing that you lower your guard. This manipulation is deliberate. It's a calculated effort to gain your trust and embed themselves in your life. Once they've established that connection, the true game begins. What makes them dangerous is not their overt hostility, but their subtle deceit. They don't strike directly, they weave a web of confusion and doubt, leaving you questioning your perceptions and reality. Manipulators are masters of distortion. They twist facts, bend truths, and selectively present information to suit their agenda. It's not always about outright lies sometimes, it's about omission or half-truths that lead you to the wrong conclusion. They create narratives that paint them in a favorable light or cast others in a shadow. This distortion is strategic, it keeps you off balance and unsure. When you try to confront them or express concerns, they're quick to deflect, deny, or turn the tables. They might accuse you of misunderstanding them, being too sensitive, or even gaslighting you into thinking that the problem lies with you. Gaslighting is one of their most potent tools. It's a form of psychological manipulation designed to make you doubt your memory, perception, or judgment. They'll deny things they've said or done, even when you have evidence. They'll insist that you're imagining things or overreacting, making you question your own sanity. Over time, this erosion of confidence in your own perceptions leaves you more dependent on them. You start to rely on their version of reality, giving them even greater control. It's a slow, insidious process that chips away at your self-trust and leaves you vulnerable to further manipulation. These individuals are also adept at playing the victim. They'll spin stories that cast them as misunderstood or wronged, eliciting your sympathy and drawing you deeper into their orbit. They might talk about past betrayals or hardships, subtly implying that you owe them understanding or loyalty. This tactic serves two purposes. It garners your emotional support and deflects attention from their own behavior. By positioning themselves as victims, they make it harder for you to hold them accountable. If you try, they'll accuse you of being unfair or uncaring, further entangling you in a web of guilt and obligation. They also employ triangulation, bringing a third party into the dynamic to create confusion or conflict. They might tell you one thing and someone else another, then sit back and watch the chaos unfold. This tactic keeps you isolated and unsure of who to trust. It also reinforces their position as the central figure in your life, the one who seems to have all the answers or insights. By sowing discord, they maintain control, ensuring that you're too preoccupied with the drama to see the bigger picture. They thrive on division because it prevents you from forming alliances or gaining clarity. Their manipulation extends to emotional exploitation. They know your weaknesses, fears, and insecurities, and they use them against you. They might bring up past mistakes or vulnerabilities, not out of genuine concern, but to undermine you. They know exactly which buttons to press to provoke a reaction or to keep you in a state of anxiety. This emotional warfare is draining and disorienting, leaving you constantly on edge. You find yourself second-guessing your words and actions, trying to avoid their disapproval or anger. This constant state of vigilance keeps you trapped, unable to see the manipulation for what it is. Another hallmark of their deceit is inconsistency. They're masters of mixed signals, alternating between kindness and cruelty, approval and criticism. This unpredictability is intentional. It keeps you off balance and constantly seeking their validation. You never know which version of them you'll encounter, so you're always trying to appease them. This dynamic creates a cycle of hope and disappointment, where you cling to the moments of kindness, believing that the person you care about is still there. But those moments are fleeting, designed to keep you hooked. The cruelty always returns, often more intense than before. Their manipulation isn't just about controlling you, it's about maintaining their own sense of power and superiority. They see relationships as a game to be won, not a partnership to be nurtured. They derive satisfaction from outsmarting or dominating others, and they'll go to great lengths to maintain that illusion. Even when confronted with evidence of their deceit, they rarely show remorse. Instead, they double down, spinning new lies or shifting the blame. Accountability is their greatest fear because it threatens to expose the truth that their entire persona is built on manipulation and deceit. Breaking free from their grip requires clarity and courage. It means trusting your instincts and recognizing the patterns of manipulation for what they are. It means setting boundaries and refusing to be drawn into their web of lies. This isn't easy. They've spent a long time conditioning you to doubt yourself and to see them as indispensable. But the moment you begin to see through their facade, their power starts to crumble. You realize that their words, no matter how sweet, are hollow, and their actions, no matter how justified they seem, are designed to serve only one purpose, their own. Reclaiming your power means stepping out of the fog of manipulation and seeing the situation with clear eyes. It means recognizing that their deceit is not a reflection of your worth, but of their own emptiness. You are not obligated to play their games or to carry the burden of their chaos. By refusing to engage, you strip them of their power. You take back your autonomy, your peace, and your truth. In the end, their manipulation only succeeds if you allow it. The moment you see through the illusion, you set yourself free. They keep you reliant on them, weakening your self-worth to ensure you can't walk away. It's a subtle and insidious strategy, often so well hidden that you don't realize it's happening until you're deeply entangled. This reliance isn't built overnight. It's carefully cultivated step by step until you find yourself doubting your own abilities and needing their approval or guidance at every turn. They weave a web that makes them seem indispensable, the only person who understands you, supports you, or has your best interests at heart. But beneath that facade lies a deeper intention to control and dominate. At first, it might feel like they're helping you. They offer advice, support, or solutions, always positioning themselves as the one who knows best. They might encourage you to lean on them, to share your problems and fears, presenting themselves as a source of strength or wisdom. This can be incredibly comforting, especially if you're going through a difficult time or feeling uncertain. You begin to rely on their input, valuing their opinion more than your own. But over time, this dynamic shifts. What started as support becomes control. They start to undermine your confidence, subtly suggesting that you can't handle things on your own or that your decisions are flawed. Their comments might seem small at first, little jabs disguised as concern. Are you sure that's the right choice? Or I don't know if you can handle that on your own. These remarks chip away at your self-assurance, planting seeds of doubt that grow over time. You start to question yourself, second-guessing your decisions and abilities. Each time you do, they're there to offer their guidance, reinforcing the idea that you need them. It's a cycle of dependency that they carefully nurture, making sure you always turn to them for answers. The more you rely on them, the weaker you feel on your own. This strategy isn't always obvious because it's wrapped in a veneer of care or concern. They might frame their control as protection, saying things like, "I just want what's best for you," or "I'm only trying to help." But true support empowers, it doesn't diminish. Someone who genuinely cares about you will encourage your independence and growth, not keep you tethered to them. They won't make you feel small or incapable. But a manipulator thrives on your dependence. The more you need them, the more power they have over you. They want to be the center of your world, the person you turn to for validation, approval, and direction. One of their most effective tactics is isolating you from other sources of support. They might subtly criticize your friends or family, suggesting that those people don't really understand you or have your best interests at heart. They'll create doubts about the intentions of others, driving a wedge between you and your support system. This isolation ensures that you become more reliant on them. When you're cut off from other perspectives, their voice becomes the loudest, the most influential. You start to see the world through their eyes, adopting their opinions and beliefs. This is exactly what they want to shape your reality and keep you dependent. They also use guilt as a weapon. If you try to assert your independence or make decisions without their input, they'll find ways to make you feel bad about it. They might say you're ungrateful or accuse you of not valuing their support. This guilt keeps you tethered, afraid to break free because you don't want to hurt or disappoint them. They position themselves as the martyr, the one who has sacrificed so much for you. This narrative is designed to keep you in line, to make you feel indebted to them. The more you feel like you owe them, the harder it is to walk away. Over time, this dependency erodes your sense of self. You lose confidence in your ability to make decisions or handle challenges on your own. You start to believe the narrative they've created that you need them, that you're not strong or capable without their guidance. This is the ultimate goal of their manipulation, to keep you small and dependent. They want to be the person you turn to for everything because it gives them control. Your reliance on them feeds their ego and reinforces their power. Breaking free from this dynamic requires reclaiming your sense of self. It means recognizing the patterns of manipulation and understanding that their support was never about helping you, it was about controlling you. True strength comes from within, not from someone else's approval or guidance. You have the power to make your own decisions, to trust your instincts, and to build a life that reflects your values and desires. It's not easy to break free, especially when they've spent so much time undermining your confidence. But the first step is awareness, seeing the manipulation for what it is. You don't need their validation or approval to be strong. You don't need their guidance to navigate your life. The more you reclaim your independence, the weaker their hold becomes. Surround yourself with people who genuinely support you, who encourage your growth and celebrate your strength. Trust yourself. You are capable, worthy, and powerful on your own. Their control only works if you believe the lie that you need them. Once you see the truth, you can walk away, reclaiming your freedom and your power. They provoke conflict and chaos, feeding on the negative energy they create. These individuals thrive on drama, not just observing it, but orchestrating it, manipulating situations and people to produce tension and discord. They are not content with peace or harmony. In fact, they are uncomfortable in environments where things run smoothly. Their actions are deliberate, aimed at creating division and distress because it fuels their sense of control and power. This behavior is often subtle at first, hidden beneath layers of pretense and justification. But over time, the pattern becomes clear. They sow seeds of mistrust, plant misunderstandings, and watch as the chaos unfolds, reveling in the turmoil they've set in motion. One way they provoke conflict is through constant criticism and negativity. They rarely offer constructive feedback or encouragement. Instead, they focus on faults, mistakes, and shortcomings. They point out flaws, often in a way that seems helpful or concerned, but the underlying intent is to create insecurity and tension. They might pit people against each other, subtly comparing you to others or highlighting differences. Comments like, "Why can't you be more like them?" or "I don't understand why you're always so difficult," are designed to create self-doubt and resentment. This constant negativity fosters an environment of competition and mistrust, where everyone is on edge, waiting for the next attack. Another tactic they use is spreading rumors and half-truths. They don't necessarily lie outright. Instead, they manipulate information, twisting facts or leaving out key details to create a distorted narrative. They might tell you one thing and someone else another, ensuring that both parties are left confused and suspicious. This tactic is particularly effective because it keeps people divided, preventing them from coming together and seeing the truth. The manipulator remains at the center of the conflict, controlling the flow of information and orchestrating the drama. They thrive on the confusion and mistrust they create, using it to maintain their position of power. These individuals also play the victim, stirring up sympathy and resentment to manipulate those around them. They might exaggerate or fabricate stories of being wronged, casting themselves as the misunderstood or oppressed figure. This not only diverts attention from their own actions, but also incites others to take sides. They provoke conflict by creating alliances, turning people against each other to defend or protect them. This dynamic ensures that the focus remains on them, with others caught in a cycle of defending, attacking, or reconciling. The manipulator feeds on this energy, drawing strength from the chaos they've created. Their behavior is often unpredictable, adding to the tension and uncertainty. They might be kind and supportive one moment, then cruel and dismissive the next. This inconsistency keeps those around them off balance, never knowing what to expect. It creates an environment where people are constantly on edge, trying to anticipate the manipulator's next move. This unpredictability is intentional. It ensures that others remain focused on the manipulator, trying to appease or avoid them. The constant state of tension and anxiety keeps everyone in a heightened emotional state, which the manipulator uses to their advantage. They know that people are more vulnerable and easier to control when they're stressed and uncertain. They also enjoy exploiting vulnerabilities, using personal information to provoke reactions. They might bring up past mistakes or insecurities, not to help but to hurt. They know exactly which buttons to press to get a response, and they use this knowledge to create conflict. They might publicly embarrass you, share private information, or make subtle but cutting remarks. This behavior is designed to provoke an emotional reaction, to draw you into a conflict on their terms. They feed on the negative energy, using it to reinforce their sense of control and superiority. The more emotional and reactive you become, the more power they feel they have. Triangulation is another favorite tactic. They involve a third party in conflicts, creating a dynamic where you're forced to compete for their favor or approval. They might share private conversations, create false alliances, or spread rumors, ensuring that everyone remains divided. This tactic not only creates conflict but also isolates you, making it harder to see the manipulator's true intentions. By keeping people at odds, they prevent any united front from forming against them. The chaos ensures that the manipulator remains the central figure, the one who seems to have all the answers or insights. Over time, this constant conflict and chaos take a toll on your mental and emotional well-being. You become exhausted, drained by the constant tension and uncertainty. This is exactly what the manipulator wants to wear you down, to keep you so focused on the drama that you can't see the bigger picture. They thrive on your distress, feeding off the negative energy like a parasite. The more you're caught up in the chaos, the more control they have. It's a cycle that's difficult to break because they've created an environment where conflict feels inevitable, where you're always on the defensive. Breaking free from this dynamic requires recognizing the patterns and refusing to engage. It means seeing their provocations for what they are, attempts to control and manipulate. You don't have to play their game. By maintaining your composure and refusing to be drawn into their drama, you strip them of their power. Surround yourself with people who support and uplift you, who encourage peace and understanding. The manipulator's chaos only succeeds if you allow it to. Once you see through their tactics, you can choose to step away, reclaiming your peace and your power. They drain your energy, leaving you emotionally exhausted while they seem to thrive off your struggle. This kind of person operates in a way that feels almost parasitic, feeding off your emotional investment, your efforts, and your vulnerability. At first, it might not be obvious. They might present themselves as a friend, a partner, or even a mentor, someone who seems to be genuinely interested in your well-being. They draw you in with charm, kindness, or a shared sense of connection. But underneath that surface lies a more sinister intent. They don't just want to be part of your life, they want to consume your energy, leaving you depleted and vulnerable while they grow stronger. One of the ways they drain your energy is through constant emotional demands. They might play the victim, always presenting themselves as someone in need of help, support, or validation. Every interaction becomes about them and their problems, their needs, their struggles. You find yourself constantly offering your time, your attention, and your emotional resources because they make you feel like you have to. They might frame it in a way that seems reasonable, even justified. I need you right now, or you're the only one who understands, but no matter how much you give, it's never enough. They always need more, and the more you give, the more drained you feel. These individuals have a way of making you feel responsible for their emotional state. If they're unhappy, it's your fault. If they're struggling, you should have done more. They create a dynamic where you're constantly walking on eggshells, trying to keep them satisfied or prevent their next crisis. This constant state of anxiety and hypervigilance is exhausting. You're always on edge, trying to anticipate their needs or avoid their wrath. It drains your mental and emotional resources, leaving you feeling depleted and overwhelmed. Meanwhile, they seem to thrive on the attention and energy you're pouring into them. Your struggle fuels them, giving them a sense of power and control. Another way they drain your energy is through conflict and drama. They thrive on chaos, and they're experts at creating it. They might start arguments over trivial things, blow small issues out of proportion, or manufacture crises out of nowhere. These conflicts are emotionally draining because they're designed to be. You find yourself caught in endless cycles of defending yourself, trying to explain or justify your actions, or simply trying to keep the peace. This constant conflict takes a toll on your emotional well-being, leaving you feeling drained and defeated. But for them, it's invigorating. They feed off the energy of the fight, the intensity of the emotions involved. They walk away from these interactions feeling stronger, while you're left feeling weaker. They also drain your energy by undermining your confidence and self-worth. They might do this subtly through backhanded compliments or passive-aggressive remarks. You did okay, but I thought you'd do better, or I'm just being honest, you need to toughen up. These comments chip away at your self-esteem, making you doubt yourself and your abilities. Over time, this erodes your sense of identity, leaving you feeling insecure and dependent. This insecurity is exactly what they want. When you're unsure of yourself, you're easier to control. You look to them for validation and approval, pouring even more of your energy into the relationship. It becomes a cycle of dependence and depletion. They also have a way of monopolizing your time and attention. They demand constant interaction, whether it's through endless conversations, late-night phone calls, or unexpected visits. They don't respect your boundaries or your need for rest. If you try to set limits, they make you feel guilty or accuse you of being selfish. I thought you cared about me, or I guess I can't count on you. These manipulative tactics keep you engaged, constantly giving your time and energy to them. The more you give, the more they take. They leave you with little time or energy for yourself, your goals, or your well-being. You become consumed by their needs and their drama. Over time, this constant drain takes a toll on your mental, emotional, and even physical health. You might feel constantly tired, anxious, or depressed. You lose your motivation, your joy, and your sense of self. It feels like no matter how much you give, it's never enough. This is because it's not about meeting their needs, it's about maintaining their control. They don't want a balanced, reciprocal relationship. They want to dominate, to be the center of your world. Your exhaustion is a sign of their success. The more depleted you are, the more power they have. Breaking free from this dynamic requires recognizing the patterns and reclaiming your energy. It means setting firm boundaries and refusing to be drawn into their drama. It means prioritizing your well-being and recognizing that you are not responsible for their emotional state. You don't have to give endlessly. True connections are built on mutual support and respect, not on one person draining the other. Surround yourself with people who uplift you, who encourage your growth and respect your boundaries. Protect your energy. It's one of your most valuable resources, and you have the right to use it for your own well-being and happiness. The more you reclaim your energy, the stronger you become, and the less power they have over you. They isolate you from your support system, gradually cutting off your connections to friends, family, and anyone who might offer a different perspective. This process doesn't happen overnight. It's a calculated and methodical effort designed to leave you vulnerable, dependent, and ultimately under their control. At first, it might seem innocent or even caring. They might express concerns about certain people in your life, subtly planting seeds of doubt. I don't think they really care about you, or I've noticed they always bring you down. These comments are framed as observations, perhaps even as protective advice, but their true purpose is to create mistrust. They want you to question the loyalty and intentions of those around you. They might start by monopolizing your time, ensuring that you spend less and less of it with others. At first, it feels flattering. They want to be with you all the time, and their attention feels like affection. I just love being with you, or I feel like we don't get enough time together, but gradually this becomes more restrictive. They get upset if you make plans without them, even if those plans involve close friends or family. They might guilt trip you, saying things like, I thought I was important to you, or I guess you'd rather be with them than me. This creates a sense of obligation and guilt. You find yourself canceling plans, making excuses, and prioritizing them over everyone else. It feels like a choice, but it's not. It's manipulation. Over time, they escalate their efforts to isolate you by creating conflicts between you and the people you care about. They might spread lies or exaggerate situations, ensuring that misunderstandings arise. They might tell you things that others supposedly said about you, sowing seeds of doubt and mistrust. They were talking about you behind your back, or I don't think they respect you. These statements are designed to create rifts, to make you question your relationships. The more isolated you become, the more you rely on them. They become your only source of support and validation, and they use that dependence to control you. They might also undermine your relationships by criticizing the people in your life. I don't think they're a good influence on you, or they're always so negative. These comments are framed as concern, but they're really about driving a wedge between you and your support system. They want you to see flaws in others, to view those relationships as toxic or harmful. This creates a sense of isolation because you begin to question the value of those connections. You start to pull away, distancing yourself from the very people who could help you see the truth. The manipulator thrives on this isolation because it leaves you vulnerable and easier to control. They often create a narrative where they are the only one who truly understands you. No one else gets you like I do, or I'm the only one who really cares. This reinforces the idea that you don't need anyone else, that your other relationships are inferior or even harmful. This sense of exclusivity is intoxicating at first. It feels like a deep connection, a bond that no one else can understand. But it's a trap. By positioning themselves as your sole confidant, they ensure that you have no one else to turn to. If you start to doubt them or see through their manipulation, there's no one left to validate your feelings or offer an outside perspective. They might also use jealousy as a tool to isolate you. If you spend time with others, they become upset or accusatory. Who were you with, or why didn't you invite me? These questions aren't about curiosity, they're about control. They want you to feel guilty for having other connections, for seeking support or enjoyment outside of the relationship. This jealousy isn't limited to romantic relationships. They can be jealous of friends, family members, even colleagues. They want to be the center of your world, the only voice you listen to. This possessiveness is often framed as love or concern, but it's really about dominance. The effects of this isolation are profound. You start to feel cut off from the world, disconnected from the people who once supported you. Your perspective narrows, and you begin to see the world through the manipulator's eyes. They control the narrative, shaping your reality to suit their needs. Without outside perspectives, it's harder to see their manipulation for what it is. You start to doubt yourself, questioning your own judgment and instincts. This makes you even more dependent on them, creating a cycle that's difficult to break. Breaking free from this isolation requires recognizing the patterns and reconnecting with your support system. It means seeing their efforts to isolate you for what they are: a calculated attempt to control you. Reach out to the people you've distanced yourself from, even if it feels difficult or awkward. Explain what you've been going through and allow them to offer their perspective. True friends and family will understand and support you. They can help you see the situation more clearly, offering the validation and encouragement you need to break free. Rebuilding those connections takes time, but it's essential. The manipulator's power lies in isolation. Once you reconnect with others, their control begins to weaken. You start to see the manipulation for what it is, and you realize that you are not alone. Surround yourself with people who uplift and support you, who respect your autonomy and encourage your growth. The more connected you are to a healthy support system, the less power the manipulator has. True strength lies in connection, in the support and love of those who genuinely care about you.